Hey, if you're not sure where you want to keep your travel fund, I have some ideas for you. Keep watching. So, my name is Mia. I am a filmmaker, though you won't be able to tell from these videos. Uh, and I also love traveling and encouraging other people to live their travel dreams. So, a travel fund that is separate from your regular savings account, your regular emergency fund, or your checking account is super important in my opinion because it simplifies things. You won't pay a bill with it. It'll kind of be like out of sight, out of mind. Um, Now, of course, emergencies happen and whatever. But barring any extreme circumstances, it is really great to have a separate account for your travel fund so that it's simple. You know how much you have at any given point. You can pull from your checking account or your other savings accounts and say, okay, I'm going to dedicate this amount to travel, and it'll just be a designated account just for that. So let's talk about a few of my favorites. I love high yield savings accounts because putting your savings into a regular checking account is not great. They tend to give 0.04% interest on those accounts, whereas a high yield savings might have 3% or 4% on those accounts. So it's just money being lost if it's just in a regular checking account. The first account I would recommend is an account with Ally Bank. Currently, their savings account is at about 4%. That's way more than any checking account. Maybe I shouldn't say any because I don't know every single checking account out there, but I highly doubt there's a checking account that is paying more than 4% APY. So definitely look into Ally Bank savings account. Also, I'm a fan of Charles Schwab high yield investor checking accounts. These are not so much for getting interest on your money as it is an all around great travel account. So when you open this account, you'll get a debit card. You can use this at any ATM anywhere without any fees. I've used it here. I've used this card in other countries to get money from the ATM in the currency of whatever country I'm in, and it works every time they reimburse you for any fees that is charged by the ATM owner. So you don't get any fees at all, not from them for using that debit card and not from the actual ATM machine. So no matter what they say their fee is, if they're like, okay, if you want to use this ATM, it's going to be a $3.99 fee charged by us, Charles Schwab will reimburse you for that amount. And that is amazing to me because those fees really add up. And especially if you're gone for a while, you don't know how many times you'll need to go and get cash from an ATM. But you don't have to worry about it with Charles Schwab because they're going to reimburse you regardless. And they're very timely with those reimbursements. They come very quick. I never really have to think about it. I will check and make sure that it went through, but it's never not gone through. So I definitely trust those accounts for that. Another account that I use is Alliant Credit Union. They also have an account that has a much higher APY than the regular bank accounts. Theirs is about 3%, a little bit over 3% right now. So I'll put any money from my checking into the savings account and it'll grow according to whatever the current interest is, the interest rate. And that's really helpful because even if you're getting a few dollars a month, or even if it's $1 a month, like if you don't have much in there and you're getting $1 a month, that's way better than nothing, And depending on where you're at, that might be the thing that buys you a meal or a coffee or a tea, wherever you're going. So it's definitely helpful to have it in those accounts. You can create multiple savings account in Alliant Bank. So you can have one that says travel fund, another that says emergency fund, and another that is for general savings. There's a lot of flexibility there. Similarly, you can do the same with American Express, their online savings accounts, but I sort of veered off from using that just for ease. I have an American Express account that's a regular account, and they had 2 separate logins for those. I think they've since integrated, but just for ease of use, I don't use it anymore. But if you only have a savings account with them, it might be a little bit easier, but I would recommend Alliant over American Express at this point. These are very good for the customizing abilities. But also, if you're the type of person who wants to have a physical travel fund, I recommend that too. It can be super helpful. I actually really liked having like a jar or some sort of container that has a lid for my travel fund back when I was saving a few years ago. I don't do it anymore. I tend to prefer the online accounts where I can just see how much is in there at a glance. But there is something nice about having like an actual literal stack of cash in a jar or whatever it is, whatever the container is. And you can take it out and count it, and it's sort of a motivating factor. Like, okay, I have this, and it's only for travel, and I can take this right now, go somewhere, and use this money. It's nice. Even though I ended up taking the cash and putting it into the bank at the end of the day anyway, like before I go on a trip, I'll put it in the account and use it to pay for the flight or the hotel or what have you. It's still kind of nice to have it physically in front of you, the cold hard cash. But the downside of that is that you're not earning anything on it. It's just sitting there, which means it's kind of losing to inflation at that point. But you just kind of have to look at yourself and say, okay, am I more likely to save this money if it's cold hard cash right in front of me, or if it's electronic? Because in some ways, not having it in my account to spend when I'm out and about was very helpful. I would have to intentionally go home, go to the back of my closet at the top shelf, and get down my travel fund and use it. And the likelihood of me doing that were extremely slim, unless like something crazy happened and I couldn't pay my rent, but you just have to look inward and say, can I handle putting it where I have access to it with the click of a button? Or do I need to put it in the back of my closet on the top shelf, out of sight, out of mind? And is that going to be most beneficial for my savings goals? Weigh that. So that's really all I wanted to say today. I just wanted to get some ideas of where to keep your travel fund. I hope that was helpful. If you have any other favorite accounts, let me know in the comments, because I'm always looking for better options if they're in existence. And like this video, and I will see you in the next one.